read a great book this week, Gillian Flynn, Gone Girl. Psychological thriller, a real page-turner. It's a portrait of a very dysfunctional marriage and a trial by media. We've got Nick and Amy, and it's their 5th wedding anniversary. Things have been really tumultuous. He wakes up on the day of their anniversary and he's thinking things are going okay today, Amy's fine. You know, he goes off to work and then finds out that his wife's gone missing. And there starts the journey of these two crazy people. I mean, I think they're both equally crazy. I think this is a really great read. I don't think it's great literature. I thought that sometimes the dialogue was a bit chunky, but I honestly could not put it down. I had to know what was happening. I'm worried about what you guys might think. I'm kind of predicting what you think, Michael.
Look,
Be gentle. I enjoyed it.
Look, I thought it was fantastic, and moment to moment, you know, it's a fantastic read.
It
you know,
really is.
The writing
It's
is
a great
taut.
read.
There is twists and turns all over the place, but like with any kind of thriller, you know, there's some big major turning points. Unfortunately, I guessed them all. What I want out of these sorts of books is that, you know, you get thrown off the scent. You've got the red herrings there. Do you guess?
I totally disagree with you, Michael.
Great.
What did you think?
Firstly, what I loved about it, the two alternating narrators. You've got Nick, Nick telling the sort of first-person story of the investigation as it sort of and how he's feeling as it progresses, and then you've got these diary entries from 5 years ago and up to the present of Amy, and you sort of slowly realise that something's not quite right here. One or both of them are not telling the truth, and obviously not for you, but for me, it's the kind of book that you get to the end and you go, wow, I'd like to go back to the beginning now and work out how she did it. For me, I think it's like Patricia Highsmith. Crime doesn't have to be a guilty pleasure when you're reading books like this. It transcends the genre.
Well, crime isn't a guilty pleasure for me. I loved it. Read it.
If I had to pick one author to meet, I'd probably go with Charles Bukowski. I really want to know if he was that drunk and that crazy and that cool.
Roald Dahl. I'd love to meet Roald Dahl or Tolkien, but probably Roald Dahl, just because I love his children's books and his adult books.
The author I'd really love to meet is probably predictable enough, Charles Dickens. I think I enjoyed my first Charles Dickens book when I was about 12, and the last one about 2 months ago. I'd love to walk around London with him. I'd say he'd be a fascinating man.
Roddy Doyle there at the Sydney Writers' Festival talking about Charles Dickens, a man I also find fascinating. And Simon Callow, probably no better as an actor or a presenter, has written the new biography of Charles Dickens. It's Charles Dickens and the Great Theatre of the World. And this is 200th birthday this year. Simon Callow has played Charles Dickens on and off for the past 15 years in various different guises, from a one-man show through to being on Doctor Who. And what he brings to the life of Charles Dickens is the theatre. As an actor, he's got an actorly love of language. What I discovered about sort of, you know, Charles Dickens and his writing was how the theatre informed Dickens's characterisations. I mean, Dickens wanted to be an actor. He ran theatre companies. He's toured as an actor right throughout England. I found this book fantastic. The sort of the understanding of the idiosyncrasies of character kind of lift off the page and sort of carried me through.
I wasn't sure when I came to this because I've somehow managed to reach my age and been through uni and without ever reading Charles Dickens.
Oh, lucky!
I know, I know. I chose the American path instead of the English path. But you know, he doesn't go into great detail about Dickens's writing. He actually spends more time on his involvement with the theatre. But he's such a larger-than-life character himself. I mean, even at age 24 or 25, he's got 2 kids. He's writing 12,000 words a month on 2 stories. He's this powerhouse of energy.
You know, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, Michael, do I have to? But it wasn't that.
No.
I did enjoy it, you know, in a sense. Probably would never have chosen it myself, but, you know, it's a good book.
It was a surprise to me, too.
Yeah.
I was a bit scared because, you know, all I knew about Dickens was...
It's not a ponderous sort of heavy brick of a book for a scholar. You know, it's not. It's a fantastic, lively character portrait. Simon Callow is coming out to Melbourne Writers' Festival in August to talk about this book. I'll be there.
I would most like to meet Jane Austen. As typical as that sounds, I just would love to just have tea with her.
William Shakespeare. no doubt about it. How could you not, as an author, want to meet a man who added 10% of the word stock to the English language?
My favourite author would be William Burroughs. He was an iconic figure and I think I'd like to meet him just to discuss with him his take on how to create art in the world we live in today.
And this gives a background to the man, who I think is very well known, perhaps notorious, but I actually don't think very well read. Most people know the facts of William Burroughs' life. He shot his wife, he was a junkie for most of his life, he lived in exile from America for most of his life. This is the second volume of Burroughs' letters. This previous volume covered the years 45 to 58, and this book of letters begins immediately after the publication of Naked Lunch, when Burroughs is finally free of morphine addiction. He's published his first major novel, and he's becoming more well known among the literati. I must admit, I'm a fan of Burroughs. I've loved his work for a long time. He is difficult, and if you read books like The Soft Machine or Nova Express or The Ticket That Exploded, they're almost impenetrable. He had theories that language was a virus, a form of control, that words kind of trap us into ways of thinking and behaviour. By reading his letters, you get some of the thinking behind where these theories came from. You see a lot of his work in kind of emergent form. You get to know Burroughs, the person. There are letters to his son, who he was estranged from. There's letters to his friends where he's explaining...
Lockie, I thought it was micro-niche, this book. I think, is there such thing? Look, I think it appeals to probably 3 people in the country, probably
Cheryl.
you. And 2 other people that might go and buy it.
Have you read Burroughs before?
No, and I'm not going to.
And this doesn't...
It's not.
It's a painless entry to Burroughs.
Look, I think undoubtedly he is a complex, multi-layered kind of individual. The book is for people who have an interest, who have a sort of fascination and allure with that kind of birth of that type of counterculture.
I really enjoy reading letters by authors. I think it's a way that you actually get inside their heads. It's also a dying art. We'll never read the collected tweets of Margaret Atwood or the collected emails of Jonathan Franzen. Books like this give you a picture of not only of the author but of the way the world was. I mean, he's working essentially on his own without the internet, and firing off these letters to his friends and colleagues and fellow artists all around the world, and deadly serious and passionate about what he's doing with his art. Insane though you may think it was, I think it's absolutely fascinating.
Although he was obviously a bag of cats and he was a bit mad like me, I would have just liked to shake Joseph Conrad's hand. You don't know, you say you want to meet these people, they probably dislike you on sight, but you can have the fantasy. Hello Joseph, how do you do? How you Sebo? Let's have a whiskey or whatever.
Well, that was Sebastian Barry talking about Joseph Conrad. Now, what about you guys?
I know it's a cliche, but I would like to meet Shakespeare. What I want to know is who wrote the plays.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet Paul Bowles. I wrote a letter to Bowles in the late 90s and found out shortly after that he died. And it's one of the great disappointments.
Well, I'd prefer not to meet authors. I want to enjoy the book for what it is.
I can understand that. Before we go, I wanted to share a couple more books with you. This is a remarkable new novel. It's The Watch by Joydeep Roy Bhattacharya. It's set in modern-day Afghanistan, and it takes the Greek myth of Antigone and transports it sort of 2,500 years into the present day. I think this is right up your alley, Michael. The other thing, which is incredible, true story, The Woman Who Wasn't There. This is the story of Tanya Head, who became the spokesperson for the 9/11 Survivors Network. Now, she claimed to have been one of the people in one of the World Trade Center towers on 9/11 and had a remarkable story of escape, but things didn't quite add up. It's the basis of a documentary that's in cinemas right now. I haven't seen it yet, but the book itself is absolutely remarkable.
I'm going to look out for that. Now, that's it for today.
Until next time.
Happy reading.